Beauty Business Matters. I'm Susan Routledge, your host, and today, so privileged to be with Amanda Hutchinson from AKP Branding Stories. And Amanda, I just have to say, you are awesome at all that you do. And I can't say any more than that, because the thing is that obviously, we met not that long ago, really.
No, October.
And then you've been out to Malta with us and photographing the business boot camp for Beauty Directors Club and everything else. And just your attention to detail is just off the scale. I just love working with you. So if we can go back to where we first met, which was...
back to Ibiza.
Yes, let's go back to Ibiza. So that was, I was out there doing a business retreat with Lisa Johnson and with Joe Simpson as well. And you were there filming, but you've filmed for a long time with Lisa and things.
Yeah, so Lisa and I met when we were in the wedding industry. And then she came into the business coaching world, and I came in the brand photography world sort of around about the same time. So I've been her photographer for a long time. I can't even think. Like 8 years now.
I think I loved though as well, because just watching how you were working, because we were walking along. I can remember walking along when we were going to go on the boat, walking along, and you were just, hang on to this a minute, and then you were just, I'm just going to photograph this, and I was thinking, what are you looking at?
I get that a lot.
And then I saw the photos and I was thinking, oh my God, that's brilliant. But I'm just like randomly looking around thinking, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? But then that, I think, and we've talked about this before, stems from, because this wasn't your original career, was it?
No.
I love this.
So my background is in crisis management. So I started work at Haringey Council the week Baby P hit the news, and I left 6 months after Tottenham riots. So my job straight out of uni was on call, 1 week on, 1 week off, dealing with emergencies. And then I went into corporate and I was working with like FTSE 100 companies to think, what's the worst that could happen? And then from there, put plans in place and train their staff on how to deal with crises. And that could be from a factory burning down to an active shooter event. And so photography was my creative outlet, because every day I was thinking, what's the worst that could happen? And it's such a depressing mindset to be in that wedding photography was like the polar opposite of like me spending my weekends photographing people in love and all of that pretty stuff. And I sort of almost fell into the brand photography bit, because I was taking photos of the wedding suppliers and being like, hey, why don't you use these photos of you setting up a wedding? And Instagram wasn't really a thing like 10, 11 years ago for businesses. Like, we were on it, but we weren't really telling our stories on it. And it sort of grew from there. And I quit weddings in 2023 because I just didn't love it anymore. Realised I loved working with the businesses more than I did the couples.
So just going back, what was your job title originally?
So at the council, I was an emergency planning officer. And then in corporate, I was a crisis management consultant.
So with that is like sort of just looking for everything that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Basically,
okay.
yeah. So I would go into a business and they'd tell me, like, say for a factory, for instance, they'd be telling me about all their process, and I'd be like, okay, so if you lost this plan or you lost these people, like, who are the key people in your business? Like, if they won the lottery and disappeared next week, like, how would you deal with the business? Or looking at their risks and going, okay, let's put some contingencies around that.
Right. Okay. So so you can see where your attention to detail comes from. Yeah. Totally. So then with the wedding photography, how long did you do that for then?
10 years. Basically, after we got married, I started doing weddings, and 2023 was my last wedding. I'd have finished them sooner had it not been for COVID. I sort of knew that weddings weren't really where I wanted to be, but like COVID delayed my 2020 weddings, and I'd taken on bookings during the lockdown because I needed the cash flow. So I made the decision at the end of 2021, I'm not taking any more bookings, because I'd shot 15 weddings in 18 weeks, starting like 3 or 4 weeks after giving birth. And I was like, I'm done. I'm spending my time shooting other people's family moments when I'm not at home with my own family, which,
precious time.
it was an IVF baby. So I had spent so long waiting for that family, and then I was missing it because I was photographing someone else's. And I was like, it's not for me anymore. And I always said, if I fall out of love with any aspect of the weddings, then that's my time to quit, because it's not fair on couples to have someone there who doesn't want to be there, because it's their special day, no matter how nuts the requests are that I'm getting. Like, can I Photoshop the buildings in London to be clean? Like, to them it's important, to me I don't care, but it's not fair to have someone there who doesn't want to be there.
And the thing is, and you can't really fit the wedding around your lifestyle, can you? It's it's a bit too big.
And me and Hutch photographed them as a couple, so it then meant that like either I had to try and find second shooters, which in lockdown or coming out of lockdown I couldn't, because whereas I had 15 weddings, the photographers I would have as my backup were shooting 30 or 40 weddings in such a condensed period of time, because everyone was suddenly like, yay, we can get married. And Jack was born the day they lifted restrictions. So 2 weeks over his due date, and I was like, come on, he's got to get out, because
I've got
I've
work to do.
I've not earned for the last like 18 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, my word.
So it kind of was the final nail in the coffin for weddings for me. Which I'm glad. I don't miss it at all.
I mean, the thing is, it's changed a lot now as well, isn't it? People get married every day kind of thing, whereas once over it was more weekends and things. But like, oh my word. I used to do bridal makeup and things, and like I can just imagine what the photography side's like, because sometimes when you'd go and do, I can always remember going to do this wedding, and this bride's mum decided to iron the dress and put a whole iron mark in the dress.
Oh my gosh.
And I went to do another wedding, and there'd been a fallout, and the best man had a big shiner to get rid of and things. And honestly, it was just like hilarious. So I went to another wedding, digressing here, I went to another wedding, and the neighbours had moved away on holiday, so they decided that they would store everything in there while they got everything ready for the wedding, and then couldn't find the keys to the house to get everything out. It was hilarious. But anyway, I'm digressing.
I mean, there's so many stories. Like, there needs to be an anonymous website that wedding suppliers can just put their stories into and it be published. So no one's like ratting on their couples, but there's a way of just being like, this crazy thing happened.
I know, hilarious. But yes, so you moved out of the wedding into brand photography.
Well, the two were running side by side. So even the brand photography business is 10, 11 years old. They were kind of running concurrently. It's just after sort of 3 or 4 years went, okay, these need to be two separate brands. So it all came under Amanda Karen Photography before. And then I was like, actually, I know this is the direction I want to be in, so I played the long game and just built it up that way.
And obviously now, I mean, you must be one of the main photographers. I mean, I know there's a lot, but you're so well known, especially.
I think I am within our circles. Yeah. I think the beauty of the entrepreneurial world in the UK, and probably globally, is there's so many business owners and so many different like circles and networks that I'm well known in our circle, but there'll be a photographer that's really well known in a different circle, and so, but we all like mainly get on. Like there's a really good network of photographers, and there's no which is maybe a little bit different than when it was in the that I found in the wedding industry. It was a bit more, oh no, I can't, your competition. Whereas it feels a lot less like that.
I hadn't realised as well. I think you learn over the years from having different photo shoots that everyone has that different style as well, don't they? Which you would think, well, to me, I take a photograph and it just never looks great, kind of thing. But the thing is that everyone has like I don't know whether it's just the camera angles or whether it's how everyone perceives it, but I can tell your shoots now, kind of thing, your style. And I mean, when we were over in Malta, the photographs that you took of everyone over the event was just amazing. And then obviously the individual shoots.
Oh, and there was such an amazing group of
I
people
know.
as well. You've got the best group. It was such a lovely community to be part of. There was no like hidden agendas or egos at play. And sometimes you will get that in large groups of people, but everybody had everyone's back, and that was so lovely
Yeah.
to be part of.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they are just awesome. I'm very proud of what
Yeah.
of Beauty Directors Club and what we've created and things. But the thing is that, and I think it's just something magical when everyone's always all together and things. And obviously, we were blessed with like lovely weather, and
Yes.
obviously having you there. And I mean, we went to Medina for the day, didn't we?
Oh, it's my favourite place in Malta. Like,
But again, like it's just the lighting and everything, isn't it? It's just
yeah.
perfect. So with photography, obviously, I know you have that brilliant brochure where you have like sort of things that everyone should think about
Yeah.
when they're having a shoot. Do you want to run through some of those? Because I've
Yeah.
never seen that before, and it was so good.
And I think that comes from the planning background, in that the more, like, most people feel uncomfortable in front of the camera. They are nervous having their photo taken. And that's no different to the people I used to work with that are unsure and lacking confidence in how to deal with an emergency. And if you can plan and prepare for that situation, you feel more confident because you know what to expect. So when I'm working with my shoot clients, because I'm saying, right, well, this is what you need to wear, this is what we're going to be doing scenes wise, so this is how we're going to use the photos, and these are the props to bring, and when you're thinking about your clothes, like, these are the sorts of outfits, and think about the colours and whether or not you're going to be sitting or standing. They come into that shoot going, okay, it's going to feel awkward being in front of the camera, but I know why we're doing it, and I know what to expect because we've done all of that planning work, so they can relax into it a little bit more. And for most people, it's still going to feel weird. I can't take that away from you. And the first few minutes of a shoot, you do feel like an idiot, especially if I'm asking you to laugh at inanimate objects so that I can get that sparkle coming to your eye. You do feel daft, but because we've done all that prep work, you've built that trust in me that I know what I'm talking about and that you know what to expect. So you just trust the process. So even if I do get you twirling around in a street, you're going to do it because you know that you're going to get a good outcome at the end of it. And there's a reason behind it. I'm not making you look like an idiot just for my own entertainment. Like, there is actually brand shoots should be strategic. You should be looking at it going, what am I going to use these in my marketing for? How is this going to promote my business? And so that's all part of the planning, is going, well, what's coming up for you for the next 9, 12 months? Like, what are we planning for? So, that guide looks at or gives advice on, what to think about for your wardrobe, what props to bring with you. Like, even if it's a 30-minute shoot, you can still do an outfit change. You can still change things up, pop a jacket on, change your jewellery to give you that variety. And so, that's what that guide was for the mini shoots. And then for the bigger shoots, we have a call and we go through everything, and you get a shoot plan at the end of it that says, right, this is your mood board, and this is the scenes that we're going to create and the videos that we're going to film. And
Amazing. I loved as well. I've done a lot of shoots, but I've never ever been asked about the bits that I don't like, kind of thing. And that's you. You said that was something that you would always ask, and it's perfect because everyone has got these like bits that they don't like of themselves, don't they?
Yeah, and that's been drummed into us from such an early age. You've got to be a certain size, you've got to look a certain way, you've got to be, and it's rubbish. Like, but I don't know what someone feels uncomfortable or then they haven't got confidence about. So I have to ask that question, because if somebody says to me, like, take me for example, I'm not confident with my arms. I'm all right with it now, but I slouch a lot. I'm probably slouching now, to be fair. Maybe I should sit up straight. With my height, like, I'm 5'9", and all of my friends are 5'6" or shorter. So I look back at my uni photos and I'm like proper hunched over. So I need, when I'm having my photo taken, for someone to know that my arms aren't squashed by my side because I don't want them to look bigger, and I'm standing up straighter so I'm not hunched over. But they're not going to know that if they don't ask me the question. So I ask my clients so that if they are, conscious, and it's usually arms, chins, and tummies that come up.
Yeah.
They are the things that most women particularly are. But I know then to maybe just tweak the posing a little bit, because whilst I will look at you and go, I think you look incredible, I'm also going to look at it and go, but the first thing she's going to look at is her arms. So let's just make sure that they are pushed back a little bit more so that she's not drawn to that instantly. Because we look at our photos and we look at the things that we hate the most.
Yeah, you do. You automatically look at the bits that you... Yeah.
And that's because magazines used to circle those bits.
Wow.
And so that's just inbuilt in us now. Size 10 models were having their cellulite circled in magazines. Yeah. And that's just what our childhood, teenage, early adult life was. And so it's no wonder it's ingrained in us to look at a photo and go, oh no, I don't like that. Yeah. We don't even, at a group shot, we don't even look at what our friends look like. We circle in on what. It's
crazy though as well that fashion tends to put body sizes and body shapes into fashion. And we had Amy Bates from Beauty Rebellion on, who's amazing as a guest. And she was saying, some fashion styles are like straight up and down. There's a really curvy kind of thing, and people try and mold their bodies into that shape kind of thing. It's madness, isn't it, really?
And that's the thing I say to clients about their clothes. Like, well, what should I wear? I'm like, wear the things you feel most confident and comfortable in. Because if you pour yourself into a dress that you'd never wear in a million years, you're going to pull at the hem and you're going to be all uncomfortable. And you're not going to want to use those photos. All that tension is going to sit in your jaw, so it's not going to look natural anyway. But also, you're going to show up in those photos not looking like you. So if you are someone who is really outdoorsy, really natural, doesn't wear a lot of makeup, and yet you show up to your shoot in a coordinated suit with a pencil skirt, high heels, and a bright red lipstick, then when you meet your clients, they're going to go, oh, that's odd. You don't look like you. And then they start questioning, well, what else are you not being genuine about? Are you an expert? Are you a skin expert really? Because you've made this bit up and you've turned up as something else. So are your credentials right? And you lose that trust. And so you have to show up as you and how people will expect to see you.
How important do you think professional brand photography is? Obviously now phones are great and they take some great pictures.
Absolutely.
How important do you think it is for someone to have brand photography though, opposed to just having a friend taking some shots?
I mean, obviously I'm going to say it's quite important. It keeps me in the job. But I do think there's scope for businesses to have both as well. So I think you need to, in whatever your business is, be able to use your phone to take some decent photos. Not even if it's not of you. It might be that you're taking photos of you doing something or in the salon or out and about, because you need much more content. Unless you've got a photographer on retainer, we need a lot of content. So I think being able to use your phone and take good photos is important. But brand photography is not just about what you're putting on Instagram. And so there was a lot of photographers having a wobble when Instagram started favouring the more raw and ready or videos going, well, we're not needed. I'm like, my clients need their photos for banners if they're exhibiting, or those website header images where, the phone is not going to be as crisp as a camera will be. But also what a brand photographer brings that maybe a phone with a camera doesn't is the marketing knowledge. If you tell me that you're launching something or you're setting up a new service, I know from 11 years experience the sort of imagery that's going to help you sell that, and how to come across, and the fact that maybe you're going to need some negative space on one side because you're going to overlay your text and your message, whether you're looking left or right, depending on what the kind of psychology is going to be behind that message, like the colors that you can bring in. Like a brand photographer brings all of that, whereas a friend with a camera or even a family photographer that can take amazing photos may not have that marketing and like bias psychology side of it.
Yeah, totally. And colours, colours are very important,
They
aren't
are,
they?
yes. I know where you're going with this.
So you've just had your colours done
I have, yes. So I've had my colours done because one of my clients that I work with, I'm doing a lot with their stylists, and I'm at their their conference, and so I was like, I should show up like to kind of partly to blend in so that I'm not like, oh, you're not your season. And it was a really fun experience. Actually, I went the day after we'd been to Malta, so I couldn't have looked more tired. You go with no makeup, and they put these drapes over you, and I literally sat there and saw my skin change just from the different colours around me. So I live in black, white, and grey. Partly because when I'm on shoots, I don't want to colour cast onto any of my clients. Turns out that's just for winter, and I'm not a winter. As much as I'd like to still be a winter, I am a spring. And that has given me a lot of colours that I will never wear. At least not yet. I'm not brave enough to go out and wear these colours, but it did make a difference to how not tired I looked. I wouldn't say I looked with no makeup on fully awake, because Jack had woken me up at 10 to 5 and it was the day after Malta, so I was pretty knackered. But I looked more friendly and welcoming. And I've got resting bitch face. Like, I need all the help I can get. But colours do play a big part, and a lot of my clients will say to me, well, do I need to wear my brand colours? I'm like, no, because actually if your brand colours are, I don't know, say a navy blue, and so you're wearing a navy blue top, and then you cut yourself out and you put yourself onto a navy blue background, you're a floating head.
Yeah.
Like you blend in then. So colours come into, there's a psychology around it in terms of like, if you're, for instance, a very eco-conscious brand, then you might bring more greens in. Whereas if you are thinking about kind of being a very sort of power stance brand, you might bring in some sort of pillar box reds. So there are kind of like connotations with colour that people will, they'll be more like optimistic around certain colours, or they'll, they all have various different meanings, but also like you have to wear what suits you. And not clash with your brand. So you might not be wearing your brand colours, but you don't want to clash with them. If you've got lots of like really soft, pinks and peaches in your brand, don't turn up to shoot wearing lime yellow, lime green even, or like lemon yellow, because it'll just be too jarring. And when you're putting together your wardrobe, think of it as a capsule wardrobe. So you want all of those outfits to go together, because then when they're on your website and people are scrolling through your website, nothing jars and stands out. Like it looks like it's a consistent set. So in a 3-hour shoot, we might do 8 outfits, but I want them all to largely go together, so that we've got, however you use them across your marketing, you've got a consistent brand image.
And I don't think most people would think that. They'll would normally think, oh, I'll put a few different things in to spice it up a little bit, kind of thing. Where it does make sense to have it where it's consistent across the.
And I do work with some clients who will have a stylist, and so I'll give the stylist the shoot brief and say, this is what we're shooting for, and they'll help put together a wardrobe. And that's what I did for my shoots. Is, she's not local to me anymore, but she came along to the shoots and dressed me. And actually, when I look back at those colours, she didn't put me in white then either. I don't know why I sort of migrated my way back into my usual black and white.
So how often should someone have brand photography done, would you say? Like ideally?
So I think that depends on the industry you're in and how much content you are putting out there. So for instance, like business coaches who are selling it's their face on socials all of the time, they need more regular shoots. But for instance, like, beauty salon owners, they've got more content other than just their face to put on. What's going to work for them is having little video clips of therapies or treatments going on. They've got a team. Now, you don't have to refresh your team photos like every 6 months, because as long as people don't suddenly change their hair colour, those photos aren't, they're not going to expire. So a lot of my clients come back every year. Some of my clients are 2 or 3 times a year. My retainer clients, if they're using lots of images, because they're maybe then going and speaking on stages or they're in publications. But I'd say you're looking at once a year, maybe even every other year. But it depends on how quickly you are burning through those photos, because we get bored of our photos quicker than our clients do. They're not going to notice if you put a photo of you wearing the same top. Whereas we will. We're like, oh God, I've used that one a few times. Like, I'm thinking I probably need a new shoot because it's been a couple of years since I've had one. And I'm sort of bored of putting the same ones up. And I scroll through and go, oh, have I used this one for a few scrolls? No, it's fine. I'll put that one up.
So for social media, would you say photography is still as important as video? Or
I think so, because I think you still need those cover photos for reels. I don't ever. I personally would never put a reel up myself and then not have a curated image on it. But also, if you're doing things like carousels are still doing really well on social, so you need imagery for that. If you're putting offers out and you're putting them on their stories, it helps to have that looking nice rather than it just being a quick phone photo of whatever it is you've got. So I do think there is still a need, and I think whilst the algorithm and business owners are like, oh yeah, raw and ready, it's fine. I think if you're a B2C business, I think your clients expect you to look polished.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a premium brand or you're a luxury brand. They want that to look nice because it gives an insight into what that experience is going to be like for them.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it is like, it's that attraction, isn't it? Kind of thing. So if you're showing up quite polished, professional, you're going to attract the clients. Whereas if you're quite laid back and you're going to, it's like handbags, cars, everything, isn't it? You also put yourself into that bracket of like premium brand or sort of like everyday brand kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that kind of everyday look is fine on stories. It disappears within 24 hours. People are inherently nosy. They like to see what's going on behind the scenes. What they don't want is their scrolling is to see their skin therapist in like a baggy jumper with a stain on it, slobbing out on a sofa. What they want is to go, oh, actually, okay, I'm a bit nervous about going to this appointment, but I know that I'm in safe hands because that person's invested in their brand, that they look like a legit serious business, they look professional, so I'm okay, I'm going to be okay. Whereas you wouldn't go and have a treatment with someone who looks like they've just been dragged through a hedge. Not unless you're on like a super super small budget and you're like, well, I just want it done. But I'd be like, most people are like, well, if I'm having anything done on my skin or anything that's seen as like a treatment or a therapy, you don't skimp on that.
So if you say you were doing a location shoot, like a salon, would you, the photography that you do you do a sort of without someone being in those shots kind of thing, just like clever imagery kind of thing as well?
Yeah, so when I've worked with salons before, I'll do the team, I'll do the founder or the owner. Even if that founder or owner is still doing treatments, I'll take some photos of them doing the business side and maybe not in uniform but in something smarter, because you want to set the founder aside from the rest of the team as well.
Yeah, perfect.
But I will do photos and videos of the products, the machines. We might do a walk through the salon so that actually they can do a reel of going, well, this is where you walk into reception and you go into this area, and kind of it's basically telling the story of the experience that your clients are gonna.
Yeah, it's a brand story, isn't it? You're taking someone on a journey then as well.
And so that doesn't have to always be the face. It might be a close up of the hands, getting out a beautiful product, or getting a machine ready, or putting down the really lovely soft towel that's going to be on the bed. Like it's those things as well. So it doesn't always have to be your face. It can be just, like you said, little angles and so when I walk around a place, I'm always like, my eyes are darting everywhere, just trying to be like,
I know I've seen
you. Like, what can I see? Well, you've seen me out and about, and I'm like, oh, I really like that bit there, and you're like, what is that? And then it's just a little door I've happened to have seen. Like,
I know, where I would have just walked straight past it. It's hilarious, yeah. It's
like, they all
"Wait,
mentioned
what
that
you
in
do?"
Malta. They're like, what? And I was like, I am listening to you, but my eyes are also constantly scanning for what would be a good, like, what's the good light? What's the light doing here? Right, that's a good backdrop. Don't like that one because, there's cat poo there, which I kept finding in Malta. Or can I get rid of that car? Yeah, I can probably edit that out, so we'll still use this scene. In a salon, I'm going to edit out your fire extinguishers and your emergency exit signs because they're unsightly, but I know they have to be there. I'm not allowed to move them, so I'll edit those out because, yes, they exist, but they're bright colours and that doesn't give you a serene feeling.
For a salon, how long would it take to do a shoot? How long would you expect to be with someone for that?
I'd say probably half a day. If you've a massive team and you want lots of treatment videos of things being done, I'd say a full day, but you can get a lot of content in half a day, so a 3-hour shoot. And then you might just want to top up every now and again with like an hour or 90 minutes once you've had that first foundation of images.
And how far do you travel then, Amanda? Do you everywhere. Malta.
Everywhere. Because a couple of people asked me in Malta, actually, do I have a studio? And I was like, no, I'd get bored. If I had all of my shoots taking place in the same location, I'd get bored. What I love about the way that I work is that I'm in beautiful shoot houses, or I'm in salons or shops, or I'm just finding locations out and about in London or in Malta like we were. If I can't physically recce a place, if I like a city that I haven't been to, then I'll go on Google Maps and I'll walk down the streets on Street View to find little areas that we can shoot in.
Oh, right. I didn't realise. So you do all the pre-prep as well.
So I knew what was around our hotel, partly because I've been to Malta before, but I knew what was around our hotel so that in those 15-minute shoots, I could go and just find different areas because I didn't want everybody's photos looking the same.
Yeah. And none of them do either as well. The same with Ibiza. You did the same.
Same with Ibiza. Ibiza was a bit easier. I was there a day earlier, but obviously husband turned 40, so I couldn't really sneak away on that one. So I came midway through, so I needed to know that I could do that recce.
Amazing. Oh my God. Amanda, I could talk to you for hours and I know we do. Right, so anyone who wants to get in touch with you, Amanda, how would they get in touch? What's the best way to do that?
I'd say either Instagram, so AKP Branding Stories, drop me a DM there. I seem to spend far too much time on Instagram, so you're more likely to get me through there. You can link through to my website then to see more of my work and what I do. But I'll always try and have a call with someone even before they book, because I want them to know that either they we gel, or so you can book a call through there or just chat on DMs.
Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll put all of your details into the show notes as well. Amanda, I can't thank you enough. It's just been so informative, because I don't think until you've actually worked with someone like yourself, you don't realise what exactly goes into it. It's just so much more involved than you think. So thank you so much for giving us an insight into all you do. Thanks so much.